You have got to be absolutely kidding me. I just cannot believe what we just saw from the Dodgers. This pitching, just wow. It is. This has been really rough to watch, to say the least. In these last few weeks, this is probably one of the worst pitching performances from the Dodgers this season, to say the least. Hey, it's Mike Nelson of Dodgers Digest. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. I want to thank the almost 13% of you that have already subscribed, the ones that are watching these videos. But 86% of you have not hit that subscribe button yet. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any big Dodger content. Me and Brad J bring you everyday videos on our Dodgers. Let's get right into it. Of course, the Dodgers lose 11-9 to the Miami Marlins, the worst team in the National League. Absolutely embarrassing. This is an embarrassing loss, to say the least, for the Dodgers. In a game that, you could say was, of course, highlighted with Ohtani getting a home run, which is always great to see as he chases history now at 48-48. But this is unacceptable. An unacceptable loss for the Dodgers. And, once again, Bobby Miller, what a disaster. Absolute disaster. Giving up 7 hits, only lasted 2 innings, was charged with 4 runs, only 2 strikeouts. This is just really bad to watch what we're seeing. And you know what? It was funny what Oral Hershiser said on the broadcast, saying, this is tough for us to watch. Imagine what Bobby Miller's going through right now. I don't know how. I have no idea how that feels. Of course, I've never pitched in the big leagues, but to be going through the run that he's going right now, it is absolutely awful to watch. And the worst thing is the Dodgers are in the midst of, chasing a world championship. If Bobby Miller was on a lottery team, if you will, call lottery in Major League Baseball, but if he was on a bottom feeder team, such as the team the Dodgers just lost to today, the Marlins, who are absolutely playing for nothing, then it would be okay for Bobby Miller. This would be his time to, get out there and get experience, which is definitely something that he needs at this time. Needs to gain experience because he's a young pitcher. Because just looking at him in the day to day, as I've watched, basically his last 4 or 5 starts with the team, he looks absolutely just not at a major league level right now. I mean, that's exactly what Bobby Miller's looking like. I mean, he only lasted 2 innings, gave up 7 hits. And, it goes back to my original thought that I had a few days ago, or I believe the last time Bobby Miller started was, is Bobby Miller really 100%? I mean, that's something the Dodgers are going to have to look at, because the way he's pitching out there, he just does not look at all with the kind of Bobby Miller that I think the Dodgers hope to see, and like people expect to see, right? Because like Oral Hershiser said, say on the broadcast, Bobby Miller is a pitcher with a lot of potential. Bulldog's saying that he knows what he's saying. The guy is arguably one of the best pitchers of all time, who should be in the Hall of Fame, in my opinion. But anyway, that's another story. That's for another video. Hopefully we'll get a chance to do in the offseason. But, this is absolutely just terrible to watch, and you got to hope that Bobby Miller can turn things around soon. The question is still, like we've talked about on this channel, is Bobby Miller going to have a spot on the playoff roster? But with the way the Dodgers are so decimated with injuries, a Gavin Stone injury really puts things in a tough spot. Is Gavin Stone going to be on the playoff roster? That's a big question mark, right? Is Gavin Stone going to be healthy in time for the playoffs? That really changes things with whether Bobby Miller is on the roster or not, in my opinion. Because, right now you got Yamamoto and Flaherty as the 2 locks. And then the 3-4 starters kind of up in the air right now with the Gavin Stone injury, the Clayton Kershaw injury, and, of course, the Glasnow injury done for the year. Walker Buehler is not injured, but he had a good start last game, but prior to that, we didn't really see much from Walker Buehler that would give you confidence. So, Walker Buehler maybe pitched himself into the playoffs in his last start. I don't know. He pitched so well that maybe that was enough, but gotta wait and see. We're gonna get another couple, I believe, a couple more starts from Walker Buehler in the next. In the rest of the year. So we're going to get that for sure. But this has been rough to see. Rough for sure. from Bobby Miller. Just a disastrous start. And, you know, it's not all his fault today. Today's loss wasn't all of Bobby Miller's fault because the bullpen was absolutely awful today. I mean, look at the numbers. This is not what you want to see from your bullpen. Basically, everybody was shaky. Outside of probably Gratterall, he was the only one that was, confidently out there and not going through trouble. But everybody was really in kind of trouble. And then the Daniel Hudson giving up the 2-run homer in the bottom of the 8th inning to make it 11-7 at the time ends up proving to be the 2 winning runs. Oh boy, that was big. Watching the game at the time was 9-7, and Daniel Hudson's job was to come in and get the 0. To have a manageable 2-run lead to try to come back from in the 9th inning, right? I mean, it was 9-7. You're thinking, okay, the Dodgers have an opportunity down 9-7, and then Daniel Hudson gives up that 2-run homer in the 8th inning, and it makes it 11-7, right? And that kind of changes it all for the Dodgers. Dodgers end up getting 2 runs in the 9th, as we saw, make it 11-9, but it just wasn't enough. It's hard to come back from a 4-run deficit. It's very difficult in major leagues to do that. So, yeah, Daniel Hudson, boy. This bullpen was just basically really awful because, it makes it worse because the Marlins are just a terrible team. They're the worst team in the National League. That's what they are. They're mathematically, statistically, this is not just the eye test here that I'm talking about. They are the worst team in the National League. And the Dodgers are the second best team in the National League. And for them to lose like that to a team like this is absolutely unacceptable. It is unacceptable at this time of the year. I think going into this series, the Dodgers were hoping for a 3-game sweep. You look at this on the count, even at the beginning of the season. You think, okay, Dodgers are taking on the Marlins in September. Marlins are probably out of the playoffs by then. It's a 3-game sweep. And the way that the season is going right now, the Dodgers can't afford to lose games because they're not always going to get the help that they got tonight. Padres lose tonight. Houston Trash Cans 4, Padres 3. They're always going to be the Trash Cans. I'm sorry, but those guys stole a World Series from us. Let's not forget that ever. And, yeah, so they won 4-3. I'm glad the Padres lost. I'm not going to celebrate a Houston win. I'm celebrating a Padres loss, to make that clear. And it was a wild game. That's why I waited to do this video tonight, because I was watching the game, hoping the Padres would lose, and that's exactly what happened. And luckily, Manny Machado, another guy we dislike here with the Dodgers, was a guy that blew it again. He choke for the Padres. So, yeah, that's all we needed. So, there were some good things out of tonight. Padres lose, and that's big. Why is it big? Because, look, Dodgers are still 3.5 ahead of San Diego. Padres win, they would have been 2.5. So just a monumental loss from San Diego, who, is, as usual, shows are just a bunch of chokers. Come on, the Chargers were always chokers when they were in San Diego, and the Padres have been chokers their whole career, their whole existence, their whole franchise existence. They've never won a World Series. They got nothing on us. And once again, they choked. They had their opportunity. They blew it. So, Dodgers got to take advantage. Luckily, they lost. Tomorrow is a new day. Every day is a new day in baseball. And they got an opportunity to at least maintain that 3.5-game lead. Because the question is, are they going to get help again tomorrow? Maybe not. San Diego might win tomorrow. And if the Dodgers lose, and you got to try to win tomorrow. You really need a W tomorrow. Got to do it. Got to win. We really need a W here. Make sure to subscribe, and let's go Dodgers.